Good afternoon. On behalf of the Armenian Genocide Committee, I would like to welcome everyone to this year's March for Justice at the Turkish Consulate, organized by a coalition comprised of the 4 Armenian religious denominations, the traditional political parties, and a number of relief, cultural, athletic, and youth organizations that have been at the forefront of justice for the Armenian genocide. Today, one day after history was made by our sisters and brothers in Armenia, who protested for many days in Yerevan for the right to determine for themselves their future and their aspirations for social justice, economic equality, and an ability to advance their own destiny. We stand with them, together and united. Their efforts compelled the resignation of Prime Minister Sher Sarkisian, opening a new chapter in Armenia's quest for democratic freedoms. Long live the Armenian people, long live Armenia, and long live the heroic people in Artsakh. We must express our solidarity to the people of Armenia and extend our hands in support of their struggle, because a prosperous Armenia means a strong, secure, and a decisive homeland, one whose present and future is determined by its people, one whose perseverance is buttressed by all of us in the diaspora. On this April 24th, once again, we demand the justice from the government of Turkey, which continues to deny the killing of 1.5 million innocent men, women, and children of Armenian descent who were citizens of its country living on their indigenous lands. We stand today in front of the Turkish consulate to remind the world that because of Turkey's denial of the Armenian genocide and the international complicity, not only do the people suffer the same fate through the 20th century, but continue to do so in the 21st century. We stand here to remind you that Turkey continues to advance the same genocidal policies against the Kurdish minorities. Also, by funding, enabling, and supporting radical terrorist groups such as ISIS. Yet, we remain undeterred in our fight to advance the cause of justice and demand reparations and restitutions to the victims of the Armenian genocide and the Armenian nation. Hashtag Turkey failed has become a common presence on social media in the past several years, because Turkey has truly failed to silence an entire race. For we have survived, we have rebuilt, and we will continue to flourish and advance as a nation, always carrying a torch for our victims' memories, which propels us to always move forward in their name and for justice. Our presence here today is a significant message to those occupying the offices in the building behind us and the government they represent, because we are here to remind them that any amount of deception and lies cannot mask the truth that there was indeed an Armenian genocide, whose victims live to tell of the horrors and whose descendants continue to advance the truth and continue to show the world the resilience of our people. The same commitment and will drove our nation to fight for freedom and independence. Merely years after the beginning of the genocide, a mark of our nation's survival instinct came on May 28, 1918, when Armenia reestablished a statehood after centuries of foreign domination and created the first Republic of Armenia, whose centennial we will celebrate next month. The 1918 Republic was the predecessor to the 1991 Declaration of Armenia's independence, and in both instances, we have shown the world that tyranny, oppression, and genocide will not deter us from capturing our destiny and strengthening our nation. There are righteous nations around the world. They have made peace with the past and acknowledge and commemorate the Armenian genocide, raising their voices and joining our struggle for justice. We thank them as they are shining examples of truth that can become models for other nations that must join us in our fight. Many of us call the United States our home, a nation that proclaims its pride on righting the wrongs of the world, that claims to be on the side of the just, yet continues to search for the will, the courage, and the leadership to acknowledge this great unjust, the Armenian genocide. Although it's only a matter of time, 48 of the 58 states have recognized the Armenian genocide, including our state of California. Once the states of Alabama and Mississippi show the same strength and resolve as the rest of the country, the people of our nation will have spoken, and Washington will have no other choice to join the list of righteous nations in recognizing the Armenian genocide. We too are righteous by coming here today. We will not be deterred, we will not waver, and by working year-round, we will ensure that not only our culture and identity to continue to flourish, but our calls for justice are heard until the day that Turkey is left with no choice but to recognize the Armenian genocide, paving the way for just reparations for that crime. Our united front will always be the source of our greatest strength, ensuring our victory. Baykar, Baykar, Minchev. Thank you.